The sun was setting over the jagged mountains of Varkon 9, painting the sky in blood red and gold. In the valley below, the city of Zarak was alive with fear and excitement. Today was the day of the dragon sacrifice. A dragon had been captured, a creature so wild and untamable that no alien had ever touched it without being burned or thrown across the ground. Its scales were black like molten rock, and its eyes glowed with fire and intelligence. The dragon roared, shaking the chains that bound it, each sound echoing through the valley like thunder. The priests of Zarak had decreed that this dragon must die. They believed its death would give them power over storms and war, and every citizen knew that disobedience could bring death. The dragon thrashed, trying to break free, but thick chains held it down. Its wings, huge and sharp, scraped the stone floor as it struggled. Sparks flew when claws hit the metal, but nothing gave. Watching from the edge of the city was a small boy. He was human, thin and barefoot, with clothes patched in many places. Orphan years ago, he survived by scavenging scraps from the city. No alien paid much attention to him, they thought humans weak and useless. But the boy had something no alien had: curiosity, courage, and a heart that did not fear. His eyes were fixed on the dragon. He had seen dragons before in stories, in old holovids left in ruined buildings. But nothing in stories could match the sight of a living dragon, roaring in chains, its eyes full of fear and defiance. The boy's heart ached. He saw not a beast but a creature in pain. While the aliens saw danger, he saw loneliness. The priests chanted loudly, their voices ringing through the valley. They carried sharp blades, ready to offer the dragon to their gods. The crowd cheered and stomped in approval. The boy stayed hidden behind a pile of rocks, his small hands gripping a piece of stale bread. He thought, no one should die like this. Not even a dragon. The dragon's head moved slowly toward him, its eyes locking with the boy's. A low growl escaped its throat, but it was not anger, it was a plea. The boy swallowed hard. His small body shook, but his mind made a choice. He had nothing to lose and everything to try. He stepped forward, careful not to make a sound. The crowd gasped when they saw the tiny human boy approaching the chained dragon. The priests shouted at him to go back, waving their blades, but the boy did not stop. He reached into his bag and pulled out the bread. "I'm not here to hurt you," he whispered. The dragon tilted its head, unsure. It had never seen a human act like this. Slowly, the boy threw a small piece of bread near the dragon's claw. The dragon sniffed it, then bit it gently. It was a small act, but a sign of trust. The boy's heart leapt. He crouched lower and held out his hand. The dragon sniffed it again, a hot breath brushing against the boy's fingers. For a moment, the valley was silent. Even the priests paused, shocked that a human dared to come so close. "Don't be afraid," the boy said softly. "I won't hurt you." The dragon's eyes softened, and it lowered its head a little, still chained but listening. The boy touched the chain, feeling its weight. He realized the chains were heavy, strong, but not unbreakable. If only he could find a way. Suddenly the priest shouted. One of them swung a blade dangerously close, trying to scare the boy away. The dragon hissed and lashed its tail, hitting the priest and sending him stumbling back. The crowd gasped. The boy stepped back but did not run. He looked at the dragon and the dragon looked at him. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, a connection that no alien could understand. The sun disappeared behind the mountains and the valley grew dark. Torches flickered, casting long shadows over the stone altar where the dragon was to be sacrificed. The priest grew impatient. The boy knew he had little time. He could see the fear in the dragon's eyes, but also its strength. If the chains were removed, it could escape, but he would need to act fast. As the crowd chanted louder, the boy whispered again, "Hold on. I will help you." He did not know how yet, but he promised himself that he would not let the dragon die. He was small and the dragon was huge, but in his heart he knew humans could do the impossible. The dragon roared one last time as the priests raised their weapons. Sparks flew from its scales, lighting up the darkness. The boy's eyes shone with determination. He stepped closer, ignoring the shouts of the priests, ignoring the fear in his chest. Something incredible was about to happen, though no one in the valley knew it yet. For the first time, the untamable dragon looked not at its captors, but at the human boy. And in that look the dragon saw hope. The boy stayed hidden for a moment, catching his breath. The dragon's eyes never left him. Even through the heavy chains, it seemed to understand him. The boy knew he had to do something soon. He couldn't just watch the dragon die. The priests were shouting, calling for guards, but no one noticed the small human moving quietly among the rocks. He took another step forward. The dragon tilted its head, curious but wary. The boy held out a small bottle of water he had found earlier. "Drink," he whispered. The dragon lowered its snout slowly and licked the water, careful not to spill it. A soft rumble escaped from deep in its throat. The boy smiled. It was the first sign of trust. The crowd was still loud, cheering for the sacrifice, but a few people were starting to notice the boy. "Get him. Stop him," a priest shouted, pointing a long spear. The boy froze for a moment. Fear ran through him like ice. But then he remembered the dragon's eyes. It was alive, scared, and needed him. He could not run now. He ran forward, ducking under a low wall and avoiding the guards. The dragon watched him carefully, its massive wings twitching. The chains rattled as it moved. The boy climbed a small rock pile and reached the dragon's side. He touched the cold metal of the chain and felt its strength. It was tight, unyielding, but not impossible to break. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I will find a way." He looked around and saw the priests moving closer. They carried their sharp blades, ready to end the dragon. The boy's heart beat fast. He could feel the dragon tense beside him. Its claws dug into the stone. Its tail flicked nervously. Then he had an idea. He ran to the edge of the altar and picked up a loose chain lying on the ground. He tested it, twisting it with his small hands. It bent slightly. His mind raced. If he could unlock just one chain, the dragon might be able to move a little. He worked quickly, ignoring the shouts around him. The dragon's eyes followed every move. It made a low growl, not angry but anxious. The boy whispered, "I'm trying. Be patient." With all his strength he twisted the chain. It bent, then snapped with a loud clink. The dragon's head shot up, eyes wide. The crowd gasped. The priest shouted in anger, "Stop him. He cannot touch the sacred dragon." The boy didn't run. He grabbed another piece of chain. The dragon shifted slightly as if it understood. Its wings stretched a little, brushing against the ground. It did not attack the boy. It seemed to know he was not an enemy. One priest ran forward, swinging a long staff. The boy dodged quickly and hit the dragon's chain again. Sparks flew as metal scraped against stone. The dragon roared, a sound so loud it made the ground shake. Some guards stumbled back in fear. The boy could see the surprise in their eyes. They had never imagined a human could come this close. Slowly, he freed one of the dragon's legs. The dragon tested it, moving cautiously. Its massive body wobbled but did not fall. It looked down at the boy and then at the priest. The boy held out his hand, and the dragon nudged it gently with its nose. A soft rumble of gratitude shook the air. The priests were furious. They ran forward, shouting spells and commands, trying to stop the boy. But he was fast and small. He ran between them, leading the dragon with gentle tugs and calm words. The dragon followed, not attacking anyone but ready to defend if needed. The crowd was silent now. Even the citizens who had cheered for the sacrifice stared in disbelief. A human, small and alone, had tamed the untamable dragon, if only for a moment. They had never seen anything like this before. The boy climbed higher on the altar, standing on a stone block. "Don't be afraid," he said again. "I will not hurt you. Trust me." The dragon lowered its massive head, brushing the boy's shoulder with its warm breath. The chains rattled, but the dragon did not struggle. It was listening, understanding that the boy was different from the aliens. The priests regrouped, shouting louder. But the dragon spread its wings, creating a shadow over the entire altar. Its roar was deafening and the priests froze. The boy stood firmly, holding out his hand. The dragon lifted its head, eyes glowing like fire in the twilight. It was ready to move, but only if the boy asked. "You can do this," the boy whispered. "We can escape together." The dragon let out a soft roar, a sound of agreement. The boy smiled, feeling a courage he had never known. He realized that humans might be small, but their hearts could be stronger than the largest dragons. The sun had disappeared completely, leaving only torches and fires to light the city. The dragon's scales shone in the firelight, black and glowing, its eyes fixed on the boy. The crowd was frozen, unable to look away. The priests were angry but powerless. The boy had proven something no alien could understand. Trust, courage, and cleverness could tame even the untamable. For the first time, the dragon moved its body freely, testing the chains and the boy's guidance. The boy climbed onto its back carefully. The dragon lowered itself to let him on. The crowd gasped. No one had ever seen a human ride a dragon, and certainly not a dragon that was supposed to be sacrificed. The boy looked down at the city below. He felt the weight of what he had done but also the thrill of what was possible. Tonight, a human had shown courage that even the greatest dragons respected. And this was only the beginning. The dragon's wings stretched wide, brushing against the stone pillars of the altar. The boy held tightly, feeling the heat of the dragon's scales beneath his hands. His heart raced, but he kept his voice calm. "We can do this," he whispered. The dragon rumbled in agreement, a low sound like thunder in the valley. Together, they looked at the chains that still bound the dragon's massive body. They were heavy and thick, designed to hold a creature much stronger than any human or alien. The priests were screaming now, their voices sharp with anger and fear. They pointed spears through stones and cast strange spells, but none of it could stop the dragon. Its eyes glowed brighter and it shifted, ready to defend itself if needed. The boy's mind worked fast. He could not fight the priests. He could not break all the chains at once. But he could find a way to free the dragon's most important limbs first. He climbed down carefully and examined the chains. The metal was alien-made, stronger than anything he had seen, but he noticed something: tiny cracks at the joints where the chains were old and worn. He grabbed a loose rock and hit one of the cracks. A small piece of metal chipped off. The dragon lowered its head, watching him with interest. It was as if it understood what he was doing. The boy worked quickly. He hit another weak joint, then another. Sparks flew as metal scratched against stone. The dragon rumbled, leaning closer, careful not to hurt him. The priest shouted, running forward, but the dragon lashed its tail, knocking two of them aside. The boy did not flinch. He had to free the dragon before it was too late. Finally, one chain snapped. The dragon lifted a massive claw, testing its freedom. It shook the chain, sending it flying across the altar. The crowd gasped. Many stumbled back, afraid of the dragon's strength. The priests were furious. "Stop him. Stop the human," one yelled. But the boy had already moved to the next chain. He worked faster now, ignoring the heat from the dragon's body and the fear in his chest. His hands were bleeding slightly from the rough metal, but he did not stop. Another chain snapped, then another. The dragon's body moved more freely, stretching its wings and testing its strength. It was still chained in parts, but the boy could see the hope in its eyes. "Almost there," he whispered. "Just a little more." He looked up and saw the largest chain holding the dragon's chest. If that broke, the dragon could stand and move completely. He ran to it, grabbing a heavy stone to hit the weakest point. Sparks flew and the metal groaned. The dragon rumbled louder, a mix of excitement and patience. The priests were now in full panic. They ran toward the boy, waving weapons and shouting. But the dragon blocked them, spreading its wings and making itself look even larger. It did not attack the boy. It protected him. The crowd was silent. They had never seen a human do something so brave. They had never seen a dragon act with such understanding. Finally, the chain broke with a loud clank. The dragon lifted its chest and head high, testing its freedom. It stretched its wings fully, the largest wingspan anyone had ever seen. Sparks flew from the stone floor as its claws dug in, and a roar shook the entire valley. The priest stumbled backward, terrified. The dragon turned its massive head toward the boy. Its eyes glowed like molten fire, but there was no anger. Only trust and recognition. The boy climbed onto its back carefully, feeling the dragon's power beneath him. The dragon lowered itself so he could sit safely, then slowly stood up. The chains that still held it were weak now, unable to stop its movements. With a powerful leap, the dragon pushed off the ground, shaking free the remaining chains. The sound of breaking metal echoed through the valley. The crowd watched in awe. A human had freed the untamable dragon. They had never believed it was possible. Some were afraid, some were amazed, but all could see that the boy and the dragon were no ordinary pair. They moved together, a bond stronger than fear, stronger than tradition. The boy held onto the dragon's scales, feeling the rush of wind as it flexed its wings. "We're free," he said softly. The dragon rumbled in agreement, its roar filling the valley. The priests tried to regroup, but the dragon's massive tail knocked their weapons away. The boy did not let the dragon hurt them. He wanted no unnecessary harm. He only wanted freedom, for the dragon and for himself. As the sun disappeared completely, leaving the valley in twilight, the boy looked down at the city. The priests and the citizens could not believe what they were seeing. A small human had done what they thought impossible. He had freed the dragon, and in doing so, he had shown the strength and courage of humanity. The dragon lowered itself, letting the boy look at the valley one last time before taking flight. Its wings spread wide, and with a mighty leap, it soared into the sky. The boy held on tightly, feeling the wind rush past his face. He laughed, a sound full of excitement and freedom. The dragon circled above the city, roaring, and the boy waved down at the stunned crowd. For the first time, the valley was quiet, filled only with the sound of wings and the wind. The boy and the dragon had achieved the impossible together. Humans were small, but their courage could move mountains, or free dragons. And tonight, everyone would remember that courage could change everything. The dragon landed on a cliff outside the city. The boy climbed down and looked at the massive creature before him. Its eyes still glowed with fire, but now with calm trust. "Thank you," he whispered. The dragon lowered its head, touching him gently with its nose as if saying, "We are partners now." The boy smiled. He knew this was only the beginning. The untamable dragon was no longer doomed. And the human boy had done something incredible. The dragon stretched its massive wings, casting a shadow over the valley below. The boy held tight, feeling the heat of its scales and the rush of the wind. The city of Zarak looked tiny from above. The priests and guards ran below, shouting and waving their arms, but the dragon stayed calm. It moved only when the boy told it to, careful not to harm anyone unnecessarily. The boy realized that the dragon was not just strong, it was smart and it could understand him. The crowd in the valley watched from the ground. They were silent now, their mouths open in shock. No one had ever seen a human act with such courage. No one had ever seen a dragon move so freely. And no one had ever seen the two work together like this. The priests were angry and confused. They could not understand how a human, so small and weak by their standards, could control a creature that even their strongest warriors could not touch. The boy spoke softly to the dragon. "We need to show them we are not enemies. We don't want to hurt anyone, but we won't let them stop us either." The dragon lowered its head and rumbled. It understood. With careful steps, it walked down the cliff, its wings folded but ready to spread at a moment's notice. The boy climbed off, keeping his eyes on the priests. The priests tried to attack, but the dragon stepped forward, blocking their path. Its tail swept across the ground, knocking spears aside without touching anyone. The boy raised his hand. "Stop," he said firmly. The dragon froze and the priest stopped too, unsure what the boy would do next. "You are powerful," the boy said, looking at them. "But power without heart is useless. You could have killed me, but I chose to help. The dragon could have destroyed you, but it did not. You see now that humans are different. We are small, but we can think, we can plan, and we can care. That is our strength." Some citizens murmured among themselves. The priests shouted, but their words sounded empty now. They had seen it with their own eyes. A human had freed the untamable dragon, guided it without fear, and protected them all. Humans were not just weak creatures as the aliens had thought. Humans were clever, brave, and full of heart. The dragon rumbled loudly as if agreeing with the boy. It lifted its wings and let out a roar that shook the city. The citizens stepped back, afraid but amazed. The boy climbed onto a rock to be taller. "See this dragon?" he said. "It could have crushed us all. But it did not. It listens to me because I treat it with respect, not fear. That is what makes humans special. That is why we can survive even in worlds like yours." The priests were silent now, staring at the boy and the dragon. They could not deny what they saw. Their tradition, their belief that only force and fear could control dragons, was broken in a single moment. A human, small and alone, had changed everything. The dragon lowered its head and nudged the boy. He smiled and climbed onto its back again. "We should go," he whispered. The dragon lifted its wings and took off, gliding above the city. The boy held on, feeling the wind in his hair and the freedom in his chest. He looked down and saw the citizens staring up in awe. Even the priests could not look away. The dragon circled above the city, showing its strength but also its calm nature. The boy waved to the people below. "Remember this," he shouted. "Humans are not weak. We are clever, we are brave, and we care. That is why we survive. That is why we succeed." The crowd cheered softly, unsure at first but growing louder. They had never heard anything like it. They had never seen a human act like this. Some children pointed at the boy and the dragon, eyes wide with excitement. Some adults whispered to each other, wondering if their traditions were wrong. The priests glared, but they could not argue with what had happened. The boy guided the dragon to a high cliff outside the city. The dragon landed carefully, folding its wings and letting the boy slide off its back. The boy looked up at the massive creature. "We did it," he said softly. "We showed them what humans can do." The dragon rumbled in agreement, nudging him gently with its nose. The boy knew this was only the beginning. Humans were small, yes, but their courage and intelligence could change the galaxy. They could tame dragons, solve impossible problems, and challenge even the strongest aliens. The dragon, untamable to everyone else, had bowed to human cleverness and heart. That was proof enough. As night fell, the city of Zarak was quiet, filled with whispers and awe. The boy sat beside the dragon looking at the stars. He thought about all the adventures that could come next, all the worlds that humans could reach, all the dragons and challenges that could be faced. The boy smiled. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were heroes. And tonight the galaxy had seen it. The dragon leaned its massive head against the boy's shoulder. He felt the warmth and strength of the creature, and he knew they were partners now. Together they could face anything. The boy stood up, looking toward the horizon. The city below was no longer just a place of fear, it was a place that had witnessed something incredible. And the human boy had shown the galaxy what it meant to be truly brave. The boy and the dragon stood together on the high cliff, looking down at the city of Zarak. The valley below was quiet now, filled with awe and confusion. The citizens had seen something they would never forget. A small human boy had faced the untamable dragon, freed it, and guided it without fear. They whispered among themselves, questioning everything they had believed. The priests who had once commanded respect and fear were humbled. Even the bravest among them could not deny what had happened. The dragon rumbled softly, nudging the boy with its massive snout. Its eyes glowed in the moonlight, full of trust and recognition. The boy smiled, feeling the weight of what they had done together. They had changed the course of the city's history. They had shown everyone that humans were not weak, not helpless, and not insignificant. Humans could face danger, think quickly, and act with courage no alien could understand. "I think they understand now," the boy whispered. "They've seen what humans can do." The dragon lowered its head, letting him pat its rough scales. The warmth of its body and the power beneath it made the boy feel both small and strong at the same time. He realized that bravery was not about size or strength, it was about heart, mind, and action. The city below slowly began to change. Citizens came out of their homes, some bowing, some cheering, and some just staring in amazement. They had been witnesses to something incredible. The boy's courage had shown them that fear was not the only way to live. There was trust, respect, and partnership, values they had ignored for too long. The priests gathered themselves, but their power had been broken. They could shout and order, but no one listened. The dragon's presence alone reminded everyone that force was not everything. A single human had proven that empathy and cleverness could surpass even the strongest traditions. The boy looked at them, not with anger but with quiet confidence. He did not need to shout. His actions had spoken louder than any words. The dragon stretched its wings and took off into the sky, circling the city slowly. The boy climbed onto its back once more, holding on tightly. The wind rushed past his face, filling him with excitement and freedom. Below, the citizens watched in awe. They could not stop staring at the boy and the dragon flying together. It was a sight they would tell their children for generations. "We did it," the boy whispered to the dragon. "We showed them that humans can be brave. That humans can be strong in ways they don't understand. And we did it together." The dragon rumbled in agreement, a sound that shook the ground like a gentle earthquake. The boy guided the dragon toward the mountains beyond the city. They moved quickly, soaring through the night sky, leaving the city behind. The stars stretched out above them, and the boy thought of all the worlds humans could reach. Dragons were only the beginning. Humans could explore, learn, and conquer challenges that no one else could even imagine. As they landed on a quiet plateau far from the city, the boy climbed off the dragon's back. He looked at the massive creature beside him. Its scales shimmered in the moonlight, and its eyes were full of loyalty and trust. The boy knew that this dragon would not just be a friend, it would be a partner, a companion, and a symbol of what humans could achieve. "They'll never forget us," the boy said softly. "And neither will anyone else. Humans are different, and now they see it." The dragon nudged him again, letting out a low rumble. It was a sound of agreement and pride. The boy realized that humans did not need to be the strongest or the biggest. Their greatest strength was courage, intelligence, and the ability to act when others could not. In the distance, the city of Zarak was quiet, its lights small and flickering. The priests were regrouping, but their voices were no longer filled with power, they were filled with fear and respect. Citizens talked quietly among themselves, wondering what traditions were worth keeping and which ones were wrong. The boy and the dragon had sparked a change that could last for generations. The boy climbed onto a rock, looking out at the horizon. He could see mountains, valleys, and forests stretching far beyond the city. He thought of adventures waiting in distant worlds, dragons yet to be met, and humans yet to prove themselves. He smiled. Humans were small, yes, but their courage could move mountains, free dragons, and change the course of history. The dragon lowered its head, letting the boy pat it one last time before they prepared to take off again. Together they would explore the stars, face dangers, and show the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. The boy took a deep breath, feeling the wind on his face, and whispered, "Let's go. There is so much more to see and so much more to do." The dragon stretched its wings and leapt into the night sky. The boy held on tightly, feeling the power and freedom beneath him. Below, the city of Zarak was left behind, changed forever. Humans had proven their worth, not through force but through heart, courage, and intelligence. The untamable dragon had bowed not to fear, but to humanity. And so began a new era. An era where humans were seen not as weak, but as heroes. Where courage could challenge tradition. Where a single boy could change the destiny of a world, and a dragon could follow not out of fear but out of respect. The sky stretched endlessly before them, full of stars, full of possibilities, and full of hope. The boy smiled, the dragon roared, and together they flew toward a future only humans could create.